This is one of two supplementary films of Southampton on D-Day, featuring the two main embarkation points at the eastern docks, used mainly by British and Commonwealth troops, and the western or new docks, used mainly by US troops. The history of Southampton docks is dismissed in one account with the sentence, "Southampton was again extremely busy during the Second World War, and remained so after peace returned." But this film of the Prime Minister at the River Itchen quayside prior to D-Day should indicate the importance he placed on the role of the port during World War II. In the photo of the eastern docks, in the distance is the New Forest and the River Test, with the River Itchen to one side. The docks were started roughly around the beginning of the reign of Queen Victoria in 1843, with the outer dock in the foreground of the photo now the site of Ocean Village, which during World War II was used to evacuate incoming casualties by rail. In the film we can see the Itchen Quays, which first came into use between 1875 and 1902 from Western Shore. We can also possibly make out the entrance to the Empress Dock, the site of the present National Oceanography Centre, opened by Queen Victoria in 1890. Nearly 160,000 Allied troops landed in Normandy on June the 6th, of which 73,000 were from the United States and 83,000 from Britain and Canada, with approximately 60,000 embarking at Southampton. During D-Day and Operation Overlord, the headquarters for British and Commonwealth troops was South Western House, which became HMS Shrapnel, the Combined Operation Military Movement Control, not Southwick Park, north of Portsmouth. This was because in his report Admiral Ramsay explained there was a need for close and continuous control of ships and craft during the first few weeks when a high tempo was required. These changes recorded at the detailed planning stage were never generally known. The importance of the Prime Minister can be seen from the presence at the location of two sets of filmmakers from the United Kingdom and the United States. The original UK film version does not feature the Prime Minister because the location was highly classified and the planners were keen not to telegraph their intentions to the enemy. To begin with, Winston Churchill was not in favour of a second front across the Channel and had to be convinced that this was the best way to defeat the enemy. However, by June the 6th he was fully supportive, and the correspondence shows that he believed as a one-time professional soldier he should lead his troops into battle, possibly the reason for his arrival at Southampton, where he knew the troops he was watching would be the first ashore and the first casualties of D-Day. In the end it was left to the intervention of King George VI, who said if the Prime Minister was to go, so should he as Commander-in-Chief, that convinced Churchill not to join the troops. The first regiment that landed on the beaches in Normandy were the Hampshires, many who came from Southampton, with the regiment given the status royal only after their campaigns, which included North Africa and Italy. This experience probably singled them out as the most likely assault troops for D-Day. The film also shows a view from the Itchen Quays looking down the River Itchen on one side, as well as across to Western Shore and southwards along Southampton Water towards the Solent and the Isle of Wight. The film also features two troop carriers along the Itchen Quays, taken by Miss Rosie Newman, a close friend of the King and Queen. This film was taken in December 1944, reflecting the fact that Southampton was operational until the end of the war, even featuring as the evacuation port for US troops returning home. There is also a short clip of the eastern docks from a landing craft on its way down the River Itchen on the way to Normandy, ready for D-Day, with a Sunderland flying boat flying overhead. At the very end of the film we can see enemy prisoners of war directed onto a returning landing craft on Gold Beach on the 7th and 8th of June. At this point they believed it was only a matter of time before the Allies would be rolled back into the sea, and the story goes that a trip around the port was organised for captured prisoners of war who still believed Southampton was finished in 1940 and could not believe the sight of their own eyes.